All right, sports fans, welcome out to the first episode ever of the 365 Sports Unlimited NFL Talk. This is new actually, and we actually have two crew members. One couldn't make it. Hopefully he'll be back next week, but I do have another one. I want to introduce him now. Thomas Martin. Thomas Martin will be with me through this whole NFL season. We'll be here. Today was on Wednesday, but we'll be on every Monday evening at 5 o'clock. And we'll be talking NFL. Thomas loves the NFL, so do I. So we're going to basically kind of just, preview week one tonight and talk about the teams that will be playing starting on Thursday and then, of course, on Sunday and then ending it on Monday evening. And then, of course, next week on Monday, we'll break down week one and preview week two. So 365 Sports Unlimited presents NFL Talk episode number 1. I'm excited. Thomas, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I know you and I have been talking a lot about, coming on and doing this podcast, talking NFL. And I'm hoping that as the season progresses, we'll bring in a few more people and get to kind of talk about the NFL and the teams. I know that you're a Baltimore Raven fan. Of course, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. And so I know when we come to these teams, we're going to be talking. It's just going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's just going to be a long season, and I just can't wait to get started. And so if you're ready, we'll go ahead and start off with week one of our schedule, which is tomorrow night. And it's with the Dallas Cowboys traveling over to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, Tampa's the champs. I'll let you break this game down. What do you know about the Cowboys and the Buccaneers?
Well, I know with the Buccaneers, man, they got an overall loaded team, load offense and defense. A lot of people, they just see Tampa Bay, think of Tom Brady. No, it's not. It's not just Tom Brady. These are the defending Super Bowl champs that brought back every single last person from that Super Bowl team. It's unreal. And I remember going back to the Super Bowl last year, everybody just thought that what Mahomes and Kansas City was going to do to them. Said, no, man, that Tampa Bay defense is nasty. They got people just everywhere. Offense, this team is loaded. And then with the Cowboys, they have a nice team, but it's shaky, man. You got to see how this defense is going to bounce back from last year, man. And
Go ahead.
And it's got to see how Dak Prescott is going to bounce back from that injury, and he hasn't played in the preseason. So it's a lot of what ifs with Dallas. I'm not too sold on Dallas yet.
So your prediction for tomorrow night's game, which way you going? Cowboys or Bucks?
I got to go Bucks.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me, man. I'm a big-time Cowboy fan. I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan all my life. But, I said when I started this podcast, I said, I'm going to be a realist here, man. I'm not just going to pick my Cowboys because I want them to win. I'm really going to look at this game. And I think, Thomas, listen, the Cowboy, Dak Prescott hasn't played the whole preseason, so there's going to be some rust, obviously. Zach Martin, one of the best offensive linemen the Cowboys have, isn't going to be in tomorrow's game due to some COVID restrictions. Ezekiel Elliott hadn't played the whole preseason either. They're still, we know what these guys can do, and we know that, Dak's feeling good and Ezekiel's looking good, but that doesn't mean much to me. These guys haven't gotten any reps during the preseason. And then you come out and you're basically asking Dak to play the best team last year with Tom Brady and the Bucs. And you just said the Bucs got everybody coming back from last year's team. I just think it's too much to overcome in week one for Dak and the Cowboys. And then there's questions still that need to be answered, even though I think we've upgraded with Dan Quinn. There's still a lot of questions as to how good this defense can really play. I just think it's too much for them to beat the champs in week one. So as much as it pains me, Thomas, I got to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. I just, I don't see the Cowboys winning tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong, but I just think it's too much for them to overcome in week one. I'm hoping that they'll get better. I hope they'll be competitive in this game. But I've got to take the Buccaneers because I honestly think that they're going to win tomorrow night. So I think my Cowboys are going to start 0-1. And then we go over to the Sunday matchups. And, of course, the first one on the list, you got the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Atlanta to play the Falcons. Your take on this game, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, with both of these both of these two teams have question marks. We don't know what we have yet with Hurts, with Philadelphia. You know, they're going through a stretch. They got rid of Carson Wentz. And then Atlanta, they lost a lot of pieces. No, they lost Julio Jones, first of all, one of the greatest receivers. They have no Todd Gurley now. They're out there with Mike Davis at running back. The defense is still iffy. They haven't had a good defense in a couple of years, I'll say. So yeah, I'll say it's a lot of different question marks with these two teams. But last year, I liked what I saw from Jalen Hurts. I think he has the potential to be an explosive quarterback. So I think in this game, I think I'm going to have to take Philadelphia with this one.
Yeah, you know, getting rid of. Can you hear me still clearly, Thomas? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Nope.
You can't hear me. Give me a second.
I hear you now.
Okay. I kind of went out. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, yeah, listen, Julio Jones being traded, I think really Atlanta's in a rebuilding kind of stage here. There's question marks on both teams. But I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with Philadelphia. I just think that they're, you know what, as a matter of fact, let me change that. You went with Philadelphia, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Atlanta. I know they don't have Julio Jones. You know, Philadelphia, I think is going to be, there's still a lot of question marks with these guys. But I'm going to go with Atlanta. I'm going to see what Atlanta's got in this game. Probably a mistake. I probably should go with Philadelphia, but I'm going to hit with Atlanta. I think they're at home. And I want to see what they're going to do in week one. The second game or the third game on the schedule, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Buffalo. Now, this is going to be a really good one, man. I tell you what, I've been looking at this one all week. They're playing in Buffalo. Both of these teams were playoff teams last year. I really like Buffalo. Who do you got?
I have to take Buffalo with this one. Buffalo is a true Super Bowl contender, man. Them guys can play. Josh Allen, that man can throw the ball. He's an MVP conversation. You know, Stephon Diggs, one of the best wide receivers in the league. The running backs, they split the carries, goal line. Josh Allen usually gets the work. But altogether, man, this team is explosive. The defense is nasty. They got one of the best shutdown corners in the league in Tre'Davious White. They can rush the passer. They're fast, they're physical. Pittsburgh, a lot of questions. Big Ben, how much does he have left in the tank? You know, that arm strength getting kind of low on him. I'm gonna have to take Buffalo with this one.
Yeah, you know, this is Ben's last year. I really believe that after this year, he's going to retire. I think they just honored his last year on that contract to bring him back. You saw last year, you know, Pittsburgh was really high. Everybody was like, look, I tell you, man, they had that great run where they won I don't know how many games. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, but it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as soon as they get to the playoffs, they're going to choke. And that's exactly what happened. Ben had an awful game, turned the ball over, put his team in a really bad position. I don't think much going to change this year. This is a young man's game, man. This is the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's just the league that we're in now. I mean, I know Tom Brady's doing some wonderful things out in Tampa, but this is a young man's league now. And with these quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, I mean, this is their league, man. And these guys are showing off. And I just think this is it for Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think in week one, Josh Allen, man, this is a big dude. He's like a running back in a quarterback's body, right? This guy does it all. You know, he's their leading rusher. He can do many of things. Diggs on the side down there. This is a really good, and I do agree with you, a Super Bowl contending team. And I just think they're going to run over Pittsburgh and they're going to beat them in week one. They're playing at home. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills because I do believe they will win this game on Sunday. Next game on the schedule, we got the Minnesota Vikings traveling to play Joe Burrows and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Joe Burrows got hurt last year. He's back. He's 100%. Who do you got? Minnesota, Cincinnati?
I'm going to take this one. I think I'm going to take Cincinnati with this one. Cincinnati, they got a lot of weapons on offense. They have a lot of weapons from Burrows, Joe Mixon. They got Tyler Boyd, the rookie Jamar Chase. T. Higgins was a rookie last year, had a great rookie season. One thing that they need to focus on, they need to block. They have to block for Joe Burrow. And they got a couple of people on defense. Jesse Bates, the safety. They have a couple of nice pieces on defense, but that Minnesota defense was awful last year. God awful. I don't know how they're going to bounce back from that. But then offense, you got Kirk Cousins. He's an okay quarterback. He's not a bomb, but he's okay. But I just think that Cincinnati offense is going to be too legit for that Minnesota defense.
Yeah, I'm looking for Joe Burrows. He's hungry. I'm looking for him to come back and have a big game in week 1. You talked about Minnesota's defense. They were awful last year. And I like Mike Zimmer. And here's the thing with Mike Zimmer, man. He's a defensive-minded coach, right? So the fact that defense was awful last year was surprising to me. But will much change this year? I don't know. We'd have to see and wait for week 1. But I like Joe Burrows. He's 100%. He's healthy. He's coming back. He's got a lot of weapons. This is a young team too. I talked about this being a young man's game now, quarterbacks. And even though Cousins is good and he's established, I think Burrows, when his career is all said and done, this guy's going to surpass many records. We saw what he did in college, and I think he's going to have a tremendous career in the NFL, and it starts this year. So I'm going to take Cincinnati. I think they are going to get the W over Minnesota. Next game on the schedule, we've got the San Francisco 49ers. They're traveling to Detroit. Now, Detroit, Stafford isn't there anymore. They've got a new guy down there. I don't know how that offense is going to look down there, that whole team. They've got a new coach. Everything's new down in Detroit. The 49ers come in last year. Of course, they had major injuries to their team and really set them back. All their guys are back. They're healthy. They've got one of the best defense, I believe, in the NFL when they're healthy. So who do you got, 49ers or the Lions?
I have the San Francisco 49ers. To be honest with you, I don't have Detroit winning more than 3 games this season. They're going to have an awful season, in my opinion. They have their offense is going to be terrible, in my opinion. Defense, I don't see Detroit having a good season. San Francisco getting a lot of people back from injury. Like I said, injuries hit them hard last year. They have a nice team, man. Kyle Shanahan, great coach, great young offensive mind. Defense, they need a little help in the secondary, but they're going to rush the passer. They fast, they're physical. They got Fred Warner, one of the best inside linebackers in the league. They got a great D-line. I got San Francisco all the way. Now, I am kind of concerned on Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know how long he's going to have that job because he needs to step it up. But George Kittle, as long as you got him, you got to watch him. I got San Francisco in a landslide against Detroit.
Now, San Francisco, didn't they just pick up like Josh Norman or something like that? Do you know anything about that?
Yep.
Yeah, They just picked him up, right? And this is a veteran, man, and this is a guy that's good. I think he'll definitely help that secondary with the 49ers. But, yeah, I got to go with the 49ers, too. I think they're healthy. You remember the last time they were healthy, they were in the Super Bowl. And they didn't win it, but they were there. And then last year, of course, injuries hit this team like it did many teams. But what's Detroit going to be like this year? You're probably right. They're going to win just a handful of games. They got a new coach out there. The Stafford isn't there anymore. I think it's going to be a very long season for the Lions. It's going to take some time for them to put their system in place with this new coach. I don't expect a lot from the Lions. And I think in week 1, having to bring in the 49ers coming into your house, a hungry 49ers team, by the way, who's eager to get back and prove that they're a team that can be in the Super Bowl. I just think they're going to really put it to Detroit on Sunday. So I'm going with the 49ers. Next game on our list, we've got the Arizona Cardinals traveling, and this is going to be another good one. Tennessee to play the Titans. Now, this is going to be a good one. Listen, the Arizona Cardinals, man, watch out for them, right? But now they're going in, they're playing the Titans, man. I got to go to you first. Who do you have, Titans or Cardinals?
Woo! I'm going to just put this on record to say this is my game of the week right here. This game is going to be awesome. I love the Arizona Cardinals. I like the Tennessee Titans. I think I have to go with the Arizona Cardinals, man. That offense is so explosive, man. Kyler Murray, one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. DeAndre Hopkins, that team is loaded. Cliff Kingsbury he's a nice coach, man. He has a nice offensive mind. I think that offense is going to be a little bit too much for that Tennessee defense. But it's going to be a close one, man. It's going to be a close one. It's hard to pick this game.
Yeah, listen, I like Tennessee, of course. I like their run game. But Arizona's been coming. And I said it last year. I had a guy that I was talking to last year, and he said, man, Arizona's coming. Now they pick up J.J. Watt if he's healthy. That defense just got a lot better than what they were last year. And they were pretty good last year with Murray there and Hopkins and just the weapons that they got over there. This team is destined to be in the playoffs this year. I think they're one of my teams from the NFC East I'm from the NFC that I feel should be in the playoffs. They didn't make it last year, but I think they're going to make it this year if they stay healthy. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. I can see it going either way, but I'm going to take the Cardinals too. I'm high on the Cardinals this year, and there's high expectations that I got for this team. And like I said, when it's all said and done, this should be one of the teams that's going to be in the playoffs. I'd be very disappointed if they're not. So this is a big test for them in week one, especially traveling over to Tennessee. So we'll see what this team's made of. But I'm gonna take the Cardinals over the Titans. And the next game on our schedule, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, they're traveling to play the Indianapolis Colts. I just saw something today where Carson Wentz is going to play for the Colts. I don't know how that's going to happen, but he's going to play. He just had about a month ago or so, he had a surgery on his foot. Don't know if he's 100% or not, but coach, the coach came out and said he's a full participant in practice today, and he will start in week one. I don't know if that'll even make a difference, but he will play for the Colts. So who do you got, Seattle or Indianapolis?
I think I'm going to go Seattle in this one. This is also going to be a good game, but like I said, I'm not sold on Carson Wentz at all. I'm not sold on him. I wasn't sold on him last year in Philadelphia, healthy. So I'm definitely not sold on him in Indianapolis, hurt. Now, Indianapolis has a very nice defense. Very nice defense. DeForest Buckner, Xavier Rhodes, they have a nice defense, but come on, as Russell Wilson. that Seattle offense, big DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, they got people everywhere. And I just think Carson Wentz is going to be the X factor in that. He's not going to show up, in my opinion. I got Seattle taking this one.
Yeah, I'm going with Seattle too. I think a healthy Carson Wentz struggled with Philadelphia last year. I don't think he's 100%, even though they're saying he just had surgery. I don't know how good he'll play or if he'll even finish the game. But I got to go with Seattle. It's just not good to bet against Russell Wilson and those weapons that he's got there. And I know last year during the offseason, there was a lot of talk about Russell Wilson, in the trades and all that. And I don't think they were ever really going to trade him. I just think he was frustrated, and he doesn't really want to run the ball a lot. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to be throwing that ball. And so I think he was just trying to get Pete Carroll's attention. I think he did. We'll see if their offense changes a little bit. I think it got a little stagnant maybe last year, and he just wasn't happy with that. But Russell Wilson, we all know what he can do, especially with the weapons that he's got. So I've got to take Seattle in this game. I do think they'll beat Indianapolis on Sunday. The next game that we've got are the Los Angeles Chargers traveling up to play the Washington football team. I don't know how good Washington's going to be this year. Their defense got a little better last year. And so, who do you got? You got the Washington football team or do you got the Chargers?
I'm actually going to take the Washington football team here. I like that Washington football team, man. They got a nasty defense. Chase Young, Deron Payne. They have people all around that defense. Ryan Fitzpatrick, we all know he can throw the ball. He when he's on, he's on. But when it's bad, it's tragic. But he's good for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. So I think I'm gonna take Washington now. Los Angeles, Justin Herbert, a young up and coming quarterback. Keenan Allen, they have talent. I got this being a very good game also, but I'm sold on that Washington defense, man. That defense is real nice. I'm going to take Washington on this one.
Yeah, I like that Washington defense. I'm not sold on their offense just yet, but their defense definitely is good. We saw them last year, and they're pretty consistent too. So if that offense can play average football and not put that defense in bad situations, with Fitzpatrick, turning the ball over and stuff. I mean, if he just plays, a good game and the offense is average, this defense can take you to the win. I mean, they're just that good. But I was really surprised with the Chargers last year and Herbert. I mean, I just think he's a great quarterback. He's got another year now in the NFL, and I think I expect this guy to play really good. He was in some really good games last year. Close games that he lost. I mean, but they were very competitive. So I want to see what he can do against this defense. I'm going to take the Chargers. I think they can go in there and they can beat Washington. But it's going to be a good one. And like you said, that Washington defense is no joke. But Justin Herbert has been playing great last year. I enjoyed watching him, and I think he's going to put it together. And I think he's going to have enough to beat Washington on Sunday. Next game, we've got the New York Jets, the awful New York Jets from last year. And they're going to be traveling up and playing the Carolina Panthers. Man, listen, I'm going to go to you for this. I don't even know who I'd pick in this game. What do you got, Carolina or the Jets?
Oh, man, I'm going to have to take Carolina. It's hard for me to pick the New York Jets to win anything, to be honest. But, I mean, Adam Gase is gone. I like Robert Saleh. I'm a very big fan of Robert Saleh, what he did with San Francisco and that defense. I think he's a great coach, hard-nosed, no joke. He's going to have them playing hard out there. Zach Wilson, nice young quarterback. But I think Carolina, they have the weapons on offense, the Robbie Andersons, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, and Sam Darnold. He was put in a terrible situation with the Jets and with no help around him. So I'm anxious to see how he's going to be with all of that, all them weapons around him now. New York, that's just, I don't know. I don't even really know too many people on that defense. So it's like, man, I have to take the Carolina Panthers on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going Carolina too. I don't see much from the first year coach. I mean, like you said, he's a good coach, but there's some major problems over there with the Jets. And to me, Thomas, it starts with the front office, man. It's just the way they do things over there. I'm hoping that this coach can change things around. But last year, in years past, like with Darnold and stuff, it's not just the coaching; it's the front office. It's a mess up there. They got a lot of cleaning up that I think they need to do, and it starts at their front office. And I don't know how well they've done in terms of what direction the Jets want to go. I don't even think they know which way they want to go. So I think it's going to be a long season for the Jets again. They may win a few more games this year than they did last year. And I wish that coach a lot of luck, but I'm going to take Carolina because I think the Jets are still a mess. And I don't think they're going to win very many more games this year than they did last year. So I'm taking Carolina. Next on the schedule, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Houston to play the Texans. I'm not really sure what Houston's got going. I know that they mentioned that Tyrod Taylor was going to be the starting quarterback in week 1. We know what Tyrod can do. Watson, I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on with him, but he's definitely not playing. I know that there's still talks about him wanting out of Houston. They're kind of a mess down there too. Although they didn't play so bad in the preseason. But then you got Jacksonville, an up-and-coming team. I mean, Trevor Lawrence. Who do you got?
I'm going to have to take Jacksonville on this one. Houston, I have them down there with Detroit battling for worst record in the league this season. Jacksonville, nice. They got some nice talent. They brought in Urban Meyer, in which I actually heard reports of that. It's a little friction between Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars. It said he bringing that college mentality to the NFL. So that's a story to look into and to track to see how that's going to work out. But I think Jacksonville has some nice talent down there with Trevor Lawrence. They got Robinson, the running back, DJ Chark. They got some young people on defense, CJ Henderson at corner. They got some young pieces. I think they have enough to beat Houston.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. I think Houston's a mess. I really feel bad for Houston. Coach Cully, he's been around the NFL for a long time, man. And when they hired him, I was happy for him to get hired. But then at the same time, I was like, man, he's gonna kind of be the scapegoat for that team. They know they're awful. They basically put him in a situation, I think, Thomas, where he can't win, and they're going to use him here in a year or two to say, you know what, he's gone. I hope that don't happen to him because I don't think he deserves that. Being so many years as an assistant coaching and then, getting his first opportunity and becoming into a team where he really doesn't have the weapons to win a lot of football games. Just bad position to put him in. And I've got to go with Jacksonville too. I think Houston's going to be down there at the end of the bottom of the barrel this year, just because, taking on a team and your franchise player don't even want to play for you, ain't even giving you a chance, not returning your calls, just went out. That's a big issue. And then prior to that, the coach before Cully in Houston made some really bad trades, I think, giving up Hopkins basically for nothing. I mean, there was just some really bad stuff. He really set that franchise back, I think, a couple of years. So I hope Cully can do something, be competitive. I'm sure he's a good coach and he will, but with just a big mess down there in Houston, it's going to be hard for him to win a lot of games. So I'm going to take in week 1 Jacksonville over Houston. Next on the schedule, it's a good one here. You got the Cleveland Browns, and they're traveling to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, now I'm going to watch this one. Cleveland, obviously, they're good. Baker Mayfield and all the young talent that they got over there. Do they have enough in week 1 to beat this Kansas City Chiefs team that I said from the very beginning? I think Kansas City is going to go back to the Super Bowl and represent the AFC. What say you, Thomas?
Man, do Cleveland have enough to beat them? Yes, in my opinion. Are they going to beat them? No. I don't see Cleveland going into Arrowhead and defeating Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That offense is just too explosive. Cleveland, but I will say Cleveland is one of the deepest teams in the NFL, offense and defensive wise. They have weapons all around. Myles Garrett. You know what? I'm going to change my opinion. I got Cleveland upsetting Kansas City and Arrowhead. That team is deep. They can rush. Jadeveon Clowney, watch him. They signed him this offseason, which it's going to be hard to stop Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett getting to the quarterback. Baker Mayfield, he's a nice quarterback. He needs to get more consistent, but I think he's a nice quarterback. You got Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. It's people everywhere. I have Cleveland upsetting Kansas City this week.
And you heard it here on the 365 Sports Unlimited NFL Talk Week 1, man. There's already a breaking news for me because Thomas is taking the Cleveland Browns over the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1. Listen, I think Cleveland's going to be in the playoffs. This team, last year, they lost to the Chiefs, right? But man, it was kind of competitive. It was kind of scary. Now Patrick Mahomes was hurt all season, and we saw that. Now he's not going to make any excuses, but Cleveland was coming. And they'll be back this year again. Now, in week 1, it already starts off. If this game was being played in Cleveland, I might take the Browns. But, man, to me, the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC, even though you've got Baltimore and you've got, Tennessee and you got Buffalo and you've got Miami. You got a lot of teams that are going to be good this year. To me, the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC, and I've got them going back to the Super Bowl and actually winning the Super Bowl this year early on, and we'll see how it goes. So I can't take Cleveland to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, especially with Kansas City playing at home. They got a new offensive line. They made some changes. I'm eager to see what that offense is going to look like with that line now this year, because it's one reason I think why they got beat in the Super Bowl last year. So supposedly they're supposed to have gotten that fixed. So they're going to get tested early on, that Kansas City offensive line with Garrett and Clowney and these guys coming into town in week 1. So we'll see how good they are. But I've got to stick with Kansas City. I just think they're going to be a little too much for the Cleveland Browns. But it is going to be a good one to watch. Next game on our list, you got the Miami Dolphins. Hey, man, they're traveling to play the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. I think the Patriots are going to be better this year than they were last year. Last year I bet some guys and said, listen, the Patriots ain't making the playoffs, and they did not. I didn't think that they would. Tom Brady left, and I just thought they didn't have enough. I didn't think Cam Newton could come in and take this team, put them on his back, and get them into the playoffs. Now Cam Newton's gone completely. He's no longer with the team, so I think they're going to go with Mac Jones. Mac Jones did pretty good in college. We all know what he did in college. Now this is the NFL. I do predict that the Patriots will be one of the teams in the playoffs, but playing a very good Miami team, a young, but Tua's there, and that defense is looking good. They got some good corners down there. Who do you got, Miami or the Patriots?
I think I'm going to take Miami with this one. Miami
Ooh.
is a nice up-and-coming team, possible playoffs this year. Actually, I love what Brian Flores has done with that team. He's a great coach. I want to see Tua Tagovailoa. I want to see him make the next step this year. They added Jalen Waddle in the draft, added Will Fuller to that receiving core, so they have a nice little receiving core now. Mike Gesicki good at tight end, and they have a good defense over there. Some of the best corners in the league with Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. They can cover. They're fast. They're physical on defense. I don't see Mac Jones winning this game for New England. I'm not too sold on him yet. I have to see what he can do with them. So I think I'm going to take Miami with this one.
I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to go with Miami. I like this young team, man. They had a lot of picks, and they made some great picks. Good selections with their picks, and I like what they're coming. I like their defense. They got two, shutdown corners basically, and they can play. So you can't just throw on this team, man, and move the ball. It's kind of hard. And then of course you talk about Tua. I'm expecting some big things from him this year. Mac Jones, there's still a lot of question marks around him, in the NFL, and they've got to go with him now, I think. And so I think in week one, it's going to be a good one. I expect Miami to go in and beat. I think it'll be a good competitive game. It'll be close, but I think it's time. If Miami wants to take the next step and be a contender and a playoff team, then they've got to go into New England and beat the Patriots. That's where it starts. I mean, if you can't travel down there in week one and beat this team, then you're probably not going to make the playoffs. So this team has to take that next step, and say, hey, look, we're going to be a playoff team. You've got to watch out for the Miami Dolphins. And if they want to be known that way, then it starts in week one on Sunday, and they've got to travel to New England, and they got to beat the Patriots at home. Would be a big statement for Miami, and I think they're going to do it. So I'm taking Miami over the Patriots on Sunday. Next game on our schedule, we got the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers traveling to New Orleans, but there is no Drew Brees this year. So how good would New Orleans be? I don't know. They've got Jameis Winston out there. They've got Hill out there. I mean, and then you've got Sean Payton, and you never know what you're going to get from Sean Payton. He'll pull he'll do things that are unbelievable. Can the New Orleans Saints beat the Green Bay Packers in week one without Drew Brees?
I think I'm going to have to take Green Bay with this one, just because you have no Breeze. We got to see how Jameis Winston is going to work out. I'm actually a big Jameis Winston fan. I know he can sling the ball. He can do that. He needs to cut down on turnovers. But one thing you got to remember, there's no Michael Thomas. They just released Latavius Murray. The Saints are going through a different, I don't want to call it rebuild, maybe retool, but I think Aaron Rodgers, come on, you can never go against Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams. I gotta take Green Bay on this one.
Yeah, I can't go against Aaron Rodgers. And plus, I think this is gonna be Aaron Rodgers last year with Green Bay, but without Drew Brees, I just think they're gonna struggle in week one. This team they're used to having Drew Brees, but their defense is good, but I just don't think they're gonna have enough to beat the Green Bay Packers. I think Jameis Winston, people, I talk a lot about it. I like him too. I think the guy can quarterback. The turnover rate, I mean, he had a lot of yards per season, but his turnovers were high. But I think when you team him up with a Sean Payton, because Sean Payton's really good with quarterbacks, I think he's going to be able to fix that problem. I think he's going to be able to calm him down and show him certain things that he wasn't showing before in Tampa. And I think if you can do that and find a way to help him limit those turnovers, man, this guy can play some football, right? So he's going to be dangerous. But I think in week one with Aaron Rodgers coming back and in week one and travel, I think it's going to be too much for the Saints. I'm taking the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers to win on Sunday. Next game on the schedule, we got the Denver Broncos, the New York Giants. I don't know what to say about Denver. This was a team back in the day that was awesome. They ain't been good in a while. They do got some talent on there. The New York Giants, Barkley's coming back. I'm not sold on Jones as their quarterback yet. There's still a lot of question marks I have around him, although there are some people that like the Giants. I actually think they're going to win the division this year. I'm not sure about that, but they do got Barkley coming back, and he's a big threat on that offense if he can come back and stay healthy. So who do you have, the Giants or the Broncos?
I think I'm going to take the Denver Broncos with this one. The Broncos have a very, very nice defense. Very nice defense. Vic Fangio, he's a defensive coach. The Broncos have one of the best defenses in the league. They made a switch at quarterback this year, going to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is a nice quarterback. He knows how to protect the ball. He knows how to protect the ball. Knows how to move it. He's a smart quarterback. They have a nice run game with Melvin Gordon and the rookie Javonte Williams. New York, a lot of question marks. They've been hurt the preseason. Kenny Golladay been hurt, but I think he's going to have a great career with them. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones at quarterback myself either. Saquon coming back from that torn ACL. New York, they have a nice defense, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome the struggles that the offense is going to have. So I think I'm going to have to go Denver Broncos with this one.
I'm going with Denver too. I like their defense. Jones just hasn't been consistent, and we still got to see how Barkley's going to return this year with that major injury he had last year. So they're still trying to put together. I think that that coach they got out there though in New York, he's doing some stuff down there. He's a good coach, Coach Judge, but I think he's still got some work to be cut. He's got some work to do down there, and there's still a lot of question marks. So we'll see what happens. But I'm taking the Denver Broncos. The next game on our list, got the Chicago Bears traveling up to play the Los Angeles Rams. Now, this is a good one. You got a defense. They're both great defense. So who do you have, the Bears or the Rams?
I'm Chicago for life. I'm Chicago for life, but I have to go with Rams. That defense, add Matthew Stafford to that offense. They have one of the greatest defensive players in NFL history, and Aaron Donald. I don't see Andy Dalton having success against them. The Bears have Justin Fields sitting down. I personally support them starting Andy Dalton this game. I wouldn't want to throw Justin Fields into the fire against this Los Angeles Rams, this defense. I think Stafford he's going to have a great season with Los Angeles. It was great putting him with Sean McVay. I'm definitely going to have to take the Rams with this one.
I'm going with the Rams too, even though I like the Bear defense. I got to go with the Rams. I just think that they're the team now. Adding Matt Stafford to that offense. Matt Stafford's been good. I mean, he's been in Detroit. He's really had no help around him over there. You're asking him to win games. Unbelievable. I don't think a lot of quarterbacks could do anything in Detroit. So it was good. He went to the front office, I read, and said, listen, no issues. I want to win. I've been here. I've given a lot to the city of Detroit, but it's time for me to want to win. And I don't think I could do that here. And they obliged, and he's been a great a player for that organization. And they gave him out, and he went to a team that I think McVay is going to really be able to help him develop even more. And this guy, that offense, and needs him. And I think he's going to have a great year. And you team him up with that defense. He don't really have to be spectacular with the Rams. He's just got to be an average quarterback, not turn the ball over. If you can score 17 points or 10 points, that might be enough to win most of the games in the NFL with this defense. So, and that's got to be good for him. You don't got out there and swing and score 30-some points. You can win with 10 points. A touchdown and a field goal could win you half of those games in the NFL with that defense that they have. So it's going to be exciting to watch. I think Matt Stafford was a great pickup. I think he's going to have a great season. And then, of course, you got that defense. If they can stay healthy, I think Cam Akers is hurt. Is that correct? So I think that's gonna be a blow for them, because I saw him last year. He was great, man. So I think not having him definitely is gonna hurt. But it's still a good offensive team, great defense. They're gonna be in the playoffs. I have them in the playoffs. So I just think that they're gonna be too much for Chicago and Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's not Andy Dalton in Cincinnati. He's over. He's kind of, past his prime, and I think you're asking him to go in there to Los Angeles and try to beat a great defense, one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL this upcoming year. So I'm going Los Angeles all the way. And then the last game that we'll talk about for episode 1 here on NFL Talk on the 365 Sports Unlimited, we've got your team, the Baltimore Ravens, and they're traveling over to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. Now, I know how much you love the Ravens. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the Ravens are going to win, but I'm going to give you the first shot. You got the Ravens or the Raiders?
Baltimore Ravens in the landslide.
You don't give the Raiders a chance, huh?
No, not a chance. Just Baltimore, they have the perfect mixture between offense and defense. It's almost impossible to shut that offense down with Lamar Jackson. You just never know what's coming with him. The injury to J.K. Dobbins, that hurt a lot, but we signed Le'Veon Bell, so you got to see how much he has left in the tank. Gus Edwards is completely capable of taking over as an RB1. He in limited carries, he still gets 800-900 yards a season. Our defense is always good. With Don Wheat Martindale, that's our defensive coordinator. He's a great coach, possible future head coach. Las Vegas Raiders, I'm not sold on them. I actually think that their GM will be fired after this season, Mike Mayock. I think they overpaid John Gruden. They haven't made the right decisions over there in Las Vegas. I see no chance of Las Vegas beating Baltimore.
I don't either. And I got to ask you this question. What's your thoughts on Harbaugh as a head coach there for your Ravens?
John Harbaugh is a great coach. Great coach. The players love him. He's a player's coach. And the way that the team, Greg Roman, our offensive coordinator, the way we built our team to surround Lamar Jackson with the plays and the players and everything that he needs, I think we couldn't do no better at doing it. Now, it's up to Lamar Jackson to take the next step of being more consistent at throwing the ball. We surrounded him with great receivers. We got a great tight end in Mark Andrews. We drafted the rookie receiver from Minnesota, Rashad Bateman, in the first round this year. So I think it's more of Lamar Jackson taking the next step than coaching when it comes to Baltimore.
Yeah, well, listen, this is another team I have projected to be in the playoffs again this year, making some noise. I mean, Lamar Jackson, like I said, he has to take the next step up. And I think he will, man. This is one of the most talented quarterbacks we have in the NFL with the things that he can do. So, I mean, it's going to be great. And he's been in that system now with Harbaugh for a few years. So I'm looking for Baltimore to be in the playoffs, and I am going to take them to win on Monday night. Now, go back to Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, I think they overpaid John Gruden big time. He has not been able to do anything. He hasn't gotten this team in the playoffs in a few years now, and they signed him to a 10-year, $100 million contract, and I don't think he's lived up to it. I think they basically hired John Gruden off of a name alone than what he could do in the NFL, And if you were successful back 10, 12, 15 years ago, it's a different NFL now. It's just very, very different. And just like you got young quarterbacks now, it's a young man's game, right? These young coaches, offensive, defensive-minded coaches, man, they're eating it up. So I if the Raiders don't make the playoffs this year, and I'm not so sure that they will in the AFC, right? It's they're going to have to do something. This team should be able to be in the playoffs with what they're paying John Gruden. But listen, you've got Kansas City, you've got Baltimore, you've got Miami, you've got the Patriots still you got to worry about. You got Tennessee. I mean, there's just too many teams that are so good in the AFC. Where does that leave the Raiders? Not very much room to not win ball games, and they lose a lot of games I think that they should win. So I don't think it's going to be any different this year than it was last year for the Raiders. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, and it starts in week 1, and they got a team coming in that's really good and hungry, and we'll see if they can compete with them. But I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday night. And that concludes week number 1 for our preview. It's Wednesday evening, but we will be back, Thomas and I, and we may have the other member back next Monday at 5:00. We'll come back. We'll break this game down. We won't be breaking down the Monday until week 2, obviously, because when we come on at 5:00, that game still will not be played. So we'll have to break that game down in the next week. But we will break down Thursday's game and Sunday's games on Monday at 5:00. So I'm excited. We'll preview week 2 on Monday, and then we'll break down week 1. So it's going to be very exciting. Hopefully the other member can join us next Monday and talk and see what team he likes and kind of get his mindset and see where he's at with the NFL. But it's going to be a long season. We're going to go all the way through the regular season here on the 365 Sports Unlimited, talking NFL talk, and we're also going to be going into the playoffs until the last game, which is Super Bowl. So Thomas, man, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're also going to keep track of our picks. And so tomorrow when I sit down here over the weekend, I'll be picking and writing down. Thomas, you can, kind of check in your picks as well. But I'll have a list of who you picked, who I pick, because every week we'll also bring it up and see how well we're doing as far as our predictions. This video will be uploaded tonight, about maybe 9 or 10 o'clock, or somewhere around there before I get to bed. So it'll be ready first thing in the morning. I don't know. I know you get up and go to work early in the morning. So if you can't see it tonight, definitely take a look at it tomorrow. Share it. It's the 365 Sports Unlimited episode 1 NFL Talk. Will be on every Monday at 5 o'clock, talking NFL and making our predictions. It's going to be a lot of fun. We may add a couple more people as the season progresses. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I love talking NFL. Hopefully my Cowboys can win on Thursday, man. But I didn't pick them because I didn't think that they were going to be able to. But we shall see. Hopefully, when it's all said and done, we'll win the division and get into the playoffs. That's what I'm hoping for. But it's a long season, and we've got a lot of question marks on that defense and on Dak Prescott. And so we'll just see what happens. But until then, or before we leave, Thomas, I'll give you the final word. Anything you want to add before we call it a night?
I'm going to add, I'm saying it here, right here, week 1. Baltimore Ravens, the 2021 Super Bowl champions.
You heard him. He said it right here on the 365 Sports Unlimited. Week 1, tomorrow's week 1, first game of the season, and he's already predicting that his Baltimore Ravens will be in the Super Bowl, meaning they're going to take out the Chiefs, meaning they're going to take out the Bills, meaning so he's got some confidence in his team. This is his team, and he said with Lamar Jackson, this team can go all the way. And, I'm not so sure I disagree with you. I mean, they definitely got the talent to get there. They got to go out and play the game, but it's going to be a great season, Thomas. I mean, there's some really great teams in the AFC. It's going to be a battle all season long. Injuries play a part in this game. So you never know what can happen. And so you heard it here, and we shall follow and see if the Baltimore Ravens can make it to the big dance and show this year. Until next Monday night, good night, Thomas. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to have a lot of fun this year, and we'll be back Monday at 5 o'clock. Until then, brother, peace out. Thank you. And this video will be uploaded about 10 o'clock this evening or tonight.
Yes, sir. Good night.